think we are ready to go. This is going to be a good one. Yes. All right, and we are live. What's going on, everybody? This is Rob the Warrior Strategist coming at you with an early Experts Lounge. Usually I like to do these in the middle of the evening, but today I'm actually going to do it right now while I have everything in front of me and ready to go. It's been a great couple days. As you guys know, on my birthday last Sunday, we released an epic, giant issue of Shift Advanced Life Design magazine with the legendary and amazing Steve Sims, the Wizard of Oz. Thanks to Steve and Tamara Lennon at the Starving Dog for helping me to put this together. Unbelievable experience, amazing, just amazing collaboration, and I'm super just grateful we were able to get this out and share Steve's wisdom with you guys. We got Kaufman popping on, Daniel Curry, Garrison. Hey, what's going on, guys? So today's going to be a great Experts Lounge. Like I said, I'm doing it at a weird time during the day. That's okay. I just want to jump back in the fold and give an original training that will help a lot of people. So before we get started, be sure and pick up your copy of Shift and check it out. It's always free to read. And I'm just enjoying coffee out of my one of my birthday presents to myself, a Captain America Civil War coffee mug with Iron Man's face on it. All right. So before we get started, real quick, I want to give a giant shout out to our sponsor, Balish Woodworks. Balish Woodworks, if you don't know the story, was started by U.S. Army veteran Kurt Balish on the East Coast, North Carolina. Lives in Fayetteville, and he makes these amazing coasters, cutting boards, display boards, multi-grain, handcrafted. I have a full set. They're incredible. And I picked up the Colonel cutting board, which is about this big with a leather handle on the side. And I use it for both as a cutting board and a display board. To get your own Balish Woodworks stuff, check them out at balishwoodworks.com. Get premium wood-crafted products. I guarantee you're not going to regret it. Kurt makes this stuff for generational handoffs. You're going to be giving these to your kids, your grandkids. His stuff is amazing, very high quality, and lasted a lot longer than my old bookshelf that I got from IKEA back in the old apartment. You can ask Mark Dudek about those photos. They're hilarious. Check out Balish because they're awesome. Now that we have our official sponsor out of the way. What we're going to talk about today in the Experts Lounge is going to be consulting. And I'm going to answer questions about consulting. I'm going to talk about what it can be, advantages of it, why people should get into it more than they already are, and then some strategies for making effective consulting plans. Because a lot of people don't understand what consulting offers. Basically, all it is when you package up your knowledge and your expertise, you figure out a skill set that you are in possession of, and then you monetize it for the instruction of other people. A consultant is not just an instructor or a teacher. A consultant is a person that sells their knowledge and helps people to grow at a certain process. And we got Donald Dodson popping on. What's going on, Donald? Hey, congratulations on your 4 years, man. That was a great post, and glad to see it. So, good for you, brother. All right. First thing I would advise, if you are looking at bringing in extra income through consulting, and there's quite a few people in the comments section already that could do this without a lot of effort. We got Ryan Hunt from Mountain Up. What's going on, Ryan? Good to see you, man. So the first thing I would advise you guys to do is to start looking at different topics that you could consult on, that you could help people with. And we'll get into that a little bit later. I would advise picking up some type of reference material. For me, I got How to Make It Big as a Consultant, William Cohen, PhD. For how smart this guy is and how successful it is, he sure wrote a B-plus book. It was okay. It was good. It had some frameworks, some good ideas. Honestly, this guy talked a big game, and I was expecting, with a title like this, I was expecting a little bit more, to be honest with you. But this book does have the framework of negotiating with a client, how to solve your client's problems, ethics, how to run your business, how to lead teams, blah, blah, blah. But make sure that you pick up something, whether it's the Dummy's Guide to Consulting, some type of, consulting book, some type of reference, whatever. Get something to where you have an outside framework to create your consulting practice. I'll tell you that book did help me out a lot with ideas and creativity. Now, what are some of the advantages of starting a consulting practice? Now, understand that one thing is that even if you guys are already in an industry, consulting can be like a third of your income, if not more. And so if you aren't doing regular consulting, you should. Even if, and we have a lot of different types of business owners here in the feed today, but whether you're an IT specialist like Daniel Curry, whether you're a hoarding expert and decluttering specialist like Tammy Moses, whether you're a leather craftsman like Donald Dodson, now understand, just in those three people, services, physical goods, right? Can consulting help all of them to make income streams? Absolutely. And I'm going to show you guys how. So let's go over some of the advantages of starting a consulting firm. First of all, you can charge anything you want. And that's a real big plus for some people. You can make your own hours. You can have creative flexibility for your consulting plans, which means that you can run your practice any way you want to, as long as the client gets their deliverables. But also, there is a certain expectation of delivery, which means that, like when you work for corporate, you work to 9 to 5, sometimes there are opportunities to skate and to not do the absolute best. When you're a consultant and you're offering one-on-one services and people are paying you to provide a solution, you have to deliver. You have to come up with the right solution and help someone through their issue, their problem, their transformational process, whatever. So while you do have additional flexibility to create whatever job you want at whatever rate you want, you also have to be very careful that you don't overpromise and underdeliver. You want just the opposite. You want to underpromise and overdeliver, like Mike Michalowicz says. Now, what are some things we can add to our consulting packages for sale? A consulting package can be calls. They can be bundle packages. They could be monthly consulting meetings. Also, you can do one-on-ones or you can do group consulting. I had a guy hire me for his office, and I trained him and his staff on visibility. And I just enrolled him in tactical CEQ as part of that. But that was an example of a group consulting package. You can also do email consultations or in person or video calls, whatever. You're going to see a lot more video calls, obviously, because of COVID. But these are the things you can offer in your consulting packages. You can also offer memberships, resources, first crack at your new ebook, first crack at your new content, blah, blah, blah. So the next thing to think about when you're designing your consulting package is, what problem do you solve? Why you? Like, why are you positioning yourself as the expert? What is it about you that makes you so good at this? And then what have you done for others? And when you can answer those three questions, you'll have a lot more business for your consulting practice. So those three again: what problem do you solve? Why you? This is also prefaced with AKA your positioning. And then what have you done for other people? Like, what are your past results for clients? Now let's talk about some of the things you're going to need for consulting, just some of the basics. You're going to need a proposal process. You're going to need contracts that are very, very specific. Scope of service, which is usually found within the contract. A timeline, and then regular deliverables. So whenever I sign a contract with somebody, the most important parts are the deliverables, so they know what they're getting. They're written in plain, easy to understand legal language. And then the timeline, like specific dates when things are going to be done by. Obviously, the payment system, because you want to get paid on time. And so when you have these things, it makes the whole process run a lot smoother. One of the problems that consultants sometimes get into is that they don't use specific enough language. And make sure to consult a lawyer like Andy Nelson if you have problems with your contracts, or you're like, I'm not sure if this language is clear enough, because you can paint yourself into a corner if your contract isn't specific about what you're going to deliver. You can really get in trouble if your deadlines aren't met. You can get in trouble if the language is super loose. So make sure your deliverables, this is the only chance you have negotiating power in a consulting package. So make sure that your deliverables are very specific and have dates on them. The next thing to think about when you're putting together your consulting package is you can create primaries or secondary skill sets for sale. What I mean by that, okay, some people will make a consulting package based on whatever it is that they're good in their primary field. Wade Saxton just popped in from Smoke and Bacon. Okay, Wade's an engineer, right? Mechanical engineer, if I remember right. Wade's primary skill set, he could probably do consulting for engineering. But Wade also has a secondary skill set of creating radio stations for people, creating visibility for growing Facebook groups. These are all secondary skill sets that are really, really valuable that he could sell in consulting packages. Someone could come to him and say, hey, Wade, can we do consulting for 3 months and you just teach me all these different ways that I can get a ton of visibility for my business? And then Wade would hook him up, get a radio station or posting in groups, whatever, personally endorse him, email blasts, all this stuff, while teaching him the nuances of all these things. And these would be secondary skill set sales. Some of the things that people have hired me for personally are starting a business from scratch, how to get more clients, how do I create meaningful and relevant social media that turns into leads, how do I get media interviews, how do I increase the sales of my business. So these are some of the things I've done when I've done consulting calls. My consulting calls have a process. They have about a month of planning involved in them. I do things a little bit different than most consultants. I charge more for the calls, but they get more out of them. So they're going to get about 30 days of planning, and they're going to have like a military grade, op order that teaches them what to do step by step by step, like literally checklist. Okay, and now we're going to delve into pricing. Because people ask, okay, well, I'm pretty good at this, but how do I set my prices? I don't want to charge too much because I'm new, but I don't want to charge too little because then it's going to attract the wrong kind of people and they're tough to deal with at low prices. And I agree. Don't ever do poverty pricing. A consultant is just the opposite. A consultant is a specialized expert that you reach out to, and you're definitely going to pay more, but it's because they're really good at what they do. 5 of the most, I feel like, important variables for pricing consulting packages are your experience. So the number of years you've been in the business, or certifications you might have, or scope of projects you've done. Your education. Past client results. This is a big one, because if you have a long history of getting a certain level of client results for people, then that should reflect in your pricing as well. The rarity or the technical amount of information that you're giving. So if you're out there and you're like, oh, hey, I'm going to set up a blockchain for your business, and then I'm going to, bring in a data mining Chinese firm of consultants secondary so we can mine the blockchain, then obviously you're going to price more. I probably messed up like 4 of those terms. I'm not a crypto or blockchain guy. I barely know that. I know about as much as I know about the engine of my car, which is almost nothing, but you get it. All right. So if you know how to teach rare information or highly technical information, then your pricing should reflect that. Okay. You shouldn't be charging $20 an hour. And lastly is the level of branding, believe it or not. The level of branding for your business, for your consulting especially, is very important. If you've got high-end graphics and videos of you stepping into a jet like Dan Locke, or, you know, video of you like addressing a room as a keynote speaker in a suit, these are all indicators of high branding. So take those 5 variables, get a piece of paper, and just say, okay, where am I at my experience, my education, my client results, rarity of info or technical level, and the level of branding. When you have those 5 things, just rate yourself like 1 to 5 and assign a dollar amount to each one. And by the end of it, you'll have a reasonable price point. You know, I'm not gonna create a little matrix for you and do this exercise for you because everybody's a little different. I came up, like I said, $750 per consulting call because, like I said, I offer a month of support, a plan, a transformational process. I print out the plan if they want it, like all this different stuff. So that's why I came to that price point. For one-on-one consulting, it's, you know, a couple thousand a month, and it always depends on the scope of the project as well. So hopefully this has given you guys some ideas about how to sell your skill sets and make consulting packages. And I'm going to leave you guys with a summation of a couple of tips. So just always make sure that you have some type of reference material when you're crafting your consulting plan, just something you can read or something you can get ideas from, because your creative limits are going to be challenged by this. And if you've never done a consulting package before, you need to hear from someone that has done it that can give you these ideas and this guidance. So always have a reference. Have your proposal process and your contracts ready. And then have your pricing set and firm. Review it once a year. And then remember the big 3. What problems do you solve with your consulting? Why are you the person that someone should hire? And use that in your social media and your positioning. And then what have you done for people in the past? What results have you gotten? If you can answer those 3, then you're ready to move forward with your consulting firm. And I'm glad that Stephen Kuhn just popped in, because Stephen has probably made more money consulting in the last year than I have in my entire life. And Stephen actually is interesting because he's done consulting for major corporations. I'm usually for the smaller mom and pop entrepreneurs or veterans just starting a business. But hey, Stephen, so I was just talking about how to start a basic consulting package, some of the things that people need to pay attention to, and then nuances in contracts that are super important, like the deliverables, timeline, pricing, important deadlines, things like that, and then the language of the contract. So obviously I'm not going to be able to fix everything in someone's consulting firm in 20 minutes, but I can give you guys a better idea of why consulting is a very good option, especially for you specialists and experts out there. And if you haven't incorporated it into your income streams, you definitely should. You should have some option, at the very least, some option where someone can hire you for a call, okay? And so Donald says, so if you've never consulted, how do you sell the last one? You have no other success than perhaps your own. So, Donald, that's a great question, first of all. Thank you. And I ask as many questions as you guys need to. This is an awesome topic. So, if you've never done consulting before, guess what? Look at what you've accomplished so far that you're better than anyone else at, which is obviously choosing leather products, choosing the materials, the process. Think about your what we call the creative process, Donald, because you've shown this to me before. You told me about this MIC, where you had a board, and it was almost a storyboard of a product coming from material to creation to sale. And it had a timeline. You know, you had to measure, you had to pick out like the right stuff, you had to paint things, you had to use machinery, all the stuff. Even if you've never consulted before, you know these processes, and that is what makes you an expert. That's the equivalent of having, 100 clients in the past. So don't even worry about it. Sell the things that you're naturally good at. So maybe even just shoot some videos. And then if somebody hires you, like, hey, Donald, I want to learn what you do. I want to, make leather goods and and all these specialized gear. So guess what? Donald's been shooting videos for the last like 6 months. He's got them unlisted on YouTube. He gets on a phone call, maybe 1 call a week, and then he gives the person access to his video archive, and then just assigns a base price to it. That's really all you have to do. So all you have to do is get on a call with the client, figure out what they're doing, make sure you can solve the problem, and I think Kuhn will agree with me on that one. That's almost number one. Make sure it's in your skill set and your wheelhouse. You can confidently reach forward and solve this problem or give them what they need. But it's very important, Donald, that that you can solve their problem and that you can provide what they need in up to a certain level, and that the language is very specific. Because if someone comes to you and says, "Hey, Donald, I want you to hire me. I want to hire you as a consultant to teach me how to do this stuff." So your contract would be really specific, because that's a vague request, okay? And you have to recognize that as the expert. So they just come to you and say, "Hey, I want you to teach me this." You come back and you say, "Okay, I can give you every week for 3 months, I'll give you a review of your processes. I'll give you access to my video archive. I will teach you how to pick out leather, how to etch leather, how to paint leather." And so your deliverable list will have to have this stuff very specifically. And then Steven says, "When you are certain in your processes and purpose, you need no justification." Rob nailed it. Thank you for backing me up on that, Steven. Appreciate it. So don't be nervous if you've never consulted before. That's okay. Understand that aptitude is sellable. So even if you're not some, suit and tie guy that's got like, a lot of corporate experience, any of that stuff, I'm not that guy. I've developed my systems, developed my processes, developed my reputation in the last couple of years. And so I've created packages that, like I said, if I figure out that I can solve somebody's problem and I'm very confident in it, I'll take the job. So don't second guess yourself, even if you're coming from a place as a skilled craftsman. There are people that absolutely want to learn what you know how to do, Donald. And so just, like I said, be ready for them. Let them know you offer consulting, and throw it out there on Facebook once in a while if you're interested in doing something like this. Hey guys, I have consulting packages available if you want to know more about, creating handcrafted leather, if you want to know how to make a wallet, blah, blah, blah. But I'm telling you, Donald, you're sitting on a video empire if you start shooting videos and just document the process. Just short videos, like 5-minute videos that are just different stages. 1 minute at stage 1 in a wallet's life. 1 minute at stage 2 in a wallet's life, where you've crafted the leather and you're etching it and you're coloring it and dyes and all that stuff. And then 1 minute, where it's at in stage 3, stage 4, and then, a final minute of you shipping it and just sending it off, right? I feel like Donald has so much potential for selling how-to videos for leather crafting. And Donald might say something like, "Well, there's a lot of people out there doing what I do. What makes me different?" Branding. That's what sets you apart. There are a bajillion business strategists out there doing what I do, but people turn to me because of who I am, the level of what I provide, me as a person, and it's kind of cool, Donald, that you're doing like a lot of things in the, the Renaissance fairs and the sci-fi and the fantasy, all this different stuff, because it makes you unique. So don't worry about the competition. Worry about you. All right. With that, guys, I'm going to sign off at 23 minutes. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Stephen Kuhn, for jumping in and offering some insight. Always appreciate it. You are definitely the godfather in this subject. I'm more of a street captain, but I'm earning my stripes getting up there. But hopefully you guys learned some cool stuff, got some ideas, got motivated to start your own consulting practices or to add consulting as an income stream. And I'm going to tell you something interesting. Don't poverty price. That's rule number 1. Set a reasonable price, like I said, using those 5 variables for your skill set. And people will come and buy from you if you present yourself and position yourself properly. All right. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Reach out if you have any questions. Once again, Rob the Warrior Strategist. And this Experts Lounge has been brought to you by Shift Life Design Magazine and Balish Woodworks. Feel free to reach out, get your free copy of Shift. And if you're looking to find handcrafted wood products, feel free to reach out to Kurt Balish at Balish Woodworks. Get your own amazing coasters, cutting boards. He makes custom furniture. You can see the level of quality here. But can't say enough good things about Balish. It's an amazing company. All right. If you guys need anything else, feel free to reach out to me. And thanks again for tuning in to the Experts Lounge with Rob the Warrior Strategist. And I'll see you next time.